What if I told you there was a version of the Bible with over 81 books? A Bible so different, so controversial, that for centuries many Western churches refused to acknowledge its contents. This isn't fiction, this is the Ethiopian Bible. And today we're going to uncover why this ancient text was kept from the eyes of millions of Christians around the world. Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more biblical stories. Deep in the heart of East Africa lies one of the oldest Christian kingdoms in the world, Ethiopia accepted Christianity as its state religion in the 4th century AD, long before many European nations. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, with its rich traditions and stunning architecture, has preserved something remarkable, a biblical canon unlike any other in the Christian world. While most Protestant Bibles contain 66 books and Catholic Bibles have 73, the Ethiopian Bible contains a staggering 81 books. But it's not just the number that makes this Bible unique, it's what's inside these extra books that has caused centuries of controversy. Imagine reading detailed accounts of fallen angels teaching humans forbidden knowledge. Picture prophecies so specific and technological that they seem impossible for their time. These are just some of the contents found in books like Enoch and Jubilees, texts that were eventually removed from most other biblical canons. But here's where it gets really interesting. Some of these banned books are actually quoted in the New Testament itself. So why were they removed from most other Bibles? Who made these decisions and what? Were they trying to hide? In the next few minutes, we're going to explore the ancient connection between Ethiopia and King Solomon, the mysterious Book of Enoch and its forbidden knowledge, why these texts were gradually removed from other biblical canons, and the modern discoveries that are making scholars reconsider everything they thought they knew about early Christianity. This isn't just a story about old books. It's a journey into one of the most fascinating mysteries in religious history. By the end of this video, you'll understand why these texts were considered so controversial that they needed to be suppressed, and why Ethiopia fought so hard to preserve them. Stay with me, because this story is about to challenge everything you thought you knew about the Bible. To understand why the Ethiopian Bible is so unique, we need to journey back nearly 3,000 years to a story that begins with one of the most famous meetings in history between the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon. According to Ethiopian tradition, around 950 BC, a powerful African queen known as Makeda, or the Queen of Sheba, made an extraordinary journey. She traveled over 1,000 miles from her kingdom in Ethiopia to Jerusalem, having heard tales of King Solomon's legendary wisdom. Ethiopian records tell us that during her stay in Jerusalem, the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon formed a deep connection. Before returning home, she converted to Judaism under Solomon's influence. But the story doesn't end there. According to the Kebra Nagast, Ethiopia's national epic, this visit led to something even more significant. The chronicles tell us that after returning to Ethiopia, the queen gave birth to a son, Menelik the Pharaoh. When Menelik later visited his father in Jerusalem, he returned to Ethiopia with something extraordinary, the Ark of the Covenant itself. The sacred object containing the original 10 Commandments is said to still reside in Ethiopia today, carefully guarded in the city of Axum. Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more biblical stories. Fast forward to the 4th century AD. While much of Europe was still pagan, Ethiopia was about to make history. Two young Syrian Christians, Frumentius and Adesius, were shipwrecked on the Ethiopian coast. This accident would change the course of Ethiopian history forever. Frumentius, later known as Abba Salama, or Father of Peace, gained the trust of the Ethiopian royal court. He became tutor to the crown prince Ezana and gradually introduced Christianity to the Ethiopian nobility. In 330 AD, King Ezana declared Christianity the state religion of Ethiopia, making it one of the first Christian kingdoms in world history. But Frumentius didn't stop there. After being consecrated as Ethiopia's first bishop by St. Athanasius, Of Alexandria, he began a remarkable process. He oversaw the translation of religious texts into Ge'ez, Ethiopia's ancient liturgical language. This translation effort was unique because it happened independently of the Latin Vulgate, the version that would later dominate Western Christianity. This independence was crucial, while the rest of Christianity was becoming increasingly centralized under Rome. Ethiopia maintained its own distinct tradition. The Ethiopian scribes preserved texts that other Christian regions gradually removed from their canons. They maintained connections with other ancient Christian centers like Alexandria and Jerusalem, but their geographical isolation helped them resist pressure to conform to Western standards. Ethiopia's location also played a crucial role. Situated along ancient trade routes connecting Africa, Arabia, and India, Ethiopian Christianity absorbed influences from various religious traditions. This rich cultural exchange helped shape their unique biblical canon. But what made this version of Christianity so different? The answer lies in its timing. Ethiopian. Christianity developed during a period when the biblical canon wasn't yet fixed. They preserved many texts that were widely read by early Christians, but later excluded from Western Bibles. These included books that would eventually become some of the most controversial religious texts in history. And speaking of controversial texts, what exactly was in these additional books that made them so problematic for Western churches? Now that we understand how the Ethiopian Bible came to be, let's dive into what actually makes it so different. Imagine you're holding two Bibles, a standard Protestant Bible in one hand and the Ethiopian Bible in the other. The difference in thickness alone would surprise you. The Ethiopian Bible contains a staggering 81 books total. That's 46 books in the Old Testament and 35 in the New Testament. For comparison, Protestant Bibles have 66 books total, while Catholic Bibles have 73. But it's not just about numbers, it's about what's inside these additional books that makes the Ethiopian Bible truly fascinating. Let's break down these unique books, starting with perhaps the most intriguing of them all, the Book of Enoch. This text, written between the 3rd century BC and 1st century AD, tells the story of Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, who, according to the book, walked with angels and was granted visions of the right future. The Book of Enoch contains detailed descriptions of fallen angels, apocalyptic visions, and even what some interpret as advanced technological concepts. It's so significant that it's actually quoted in the New Testament's Book of Jude, yet it's only found complete in the Ethiopian Bible. Then there's the Book of Jubilees, sometimes called the Little Genesis. This text retells the events from creation to Moses, but with fascinating additional details. It explains why certain biblical figures made their choices, fills in gaps in family histories, and even describes how angels taught humans various sciences and arts. The Shepherd of Hermas is another remarkable inclusion. Written in Rome around the 2nd century AD, it's a series of visions and moral teachings that were so highly regarded, many early Christians considered it Scripture. The text follows Hermas, a former slave, who receives divine visions about moral life and the church. Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more biblical stories. Perhaps the most unique additions are the books of Maccabean. These are not the same as the Maccabees, found in Catholic Bibles. They're completely different texts, telling the stories of Ethiopian heroes who defended their faith. These books have no equivalent in any other biblical tradition. Let's put this in perspective. When we compare biblical canons, Protestant Bible, 66 books, 39 Old Testament, 27 New Testament. Catholic Bible, 73 books, 46 Old Testament, 27 New Testament. Eastern Orthodox, 76 books, 49 Old Testament, 27 New Testament. Ethiopian Bible, 81 books, 46 Old Testament, 35 New Testament. But what makes the Ethiopian Bible truly unique isn't just its size, it's the nature of its additional contents. Many of these books provide detailed apocalyptic visions, elaborate on supernatural beings, and contain prophecies that some interpret as describing advanced technology. These aren't just simple historical accounts. They're complex texts that have fascinated scholars for centuries. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has preserved these texts for over 1,500 years, maintaining that they contain valuable spiritual truths. While other churches gradually removed these books from their canons, Ethiopian Christians continue to study and revere them. But this raises an important question. Why were these books removed from other biblical canons? What? Was it about their content that made religious authorities decide they shouldn't be included in the standard Bible? The answer lies in one book in particular, the mysterious Book of Enoch, housed in darkened setting with ancient manuscripts. Of all the books excluded from most biblical canons, none has generated more controversy, fascination, and debate than the Book of Enoch. This ancient text, preserved complete only in Ethiopia, contains some of the most extraordinary and controversial content ever written in religious literature. Written in several stages between the 3rd century BC and the 1st century AD, the Book of Enoch tells the story of Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, who, according to Genesis, walked with God and was not, for God took him. But what happened during that walk? According to this text, something remarkable. The book begins with a shocking account. 200 angels called Watchers descend to earth from heaven. These beings, led by angels named Semyaza and Azazel, begin interacting with humans in ways that transform human civilization, and not necessarily for the better. According to Enoch, these angels took human wives, producing offspring called the Nephilim, giants, who stood hundreds of feet tall. But that's just the beginning. The text claims these fallen angels taught human sophisticated knowledge. Azazel taught weapon making and cosmetics. Semyaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Other angels taught astronomy, meteorology, and even writing. But here's where it gets really controversial. The book contains descriptions that some interpret as advanced technology. Enoch describes flying houses of fire in the sky, journeys through the stars, complex astronomical calculations, detailed weather predictions. These descriptions were so advanced for their time that they've led to endless speculation about their true meaning. The astronomical knowledge in the Book of Enoch is particularly puzzling. It describes a solar year of 364, days divided into 4 seasons of 91 days each. It includes detailed information about celestial movements. That would have been difficult to observe with ancient technology. Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more biblical stories. But here's the most intriguing part. The Book of Enoch was widely read and respected by early Christians. In fact, it's directly quoted in the New Testament book of Jude. And Enoch also, the 7th from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, "Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his holy ones." This quote comes straight from Enoch chapter 1, verse 9. Early Christian writers like Tertullian and Clement of Alexandria considered it scripture. Even the dead sea scrolls contain multiple copies of Enoch texts. So why was it eventually rejected by most churches? The controversy reached its peak in the 4th century AD. Church authorities had several concerns. 1, the book's detailed descriptions of angels seemed too elaborate. 2, its astronomical teachings didn't align with accepted science of the time. 3, some of its prophecies seemed to challenge established church doctrine. 4, its origin and authorship couldn't be definitively proven. But the Ethiopian Orthodox Church saw something different. They viewed the Book of Enoch as an essential text that filled crucial gaps in biblical history. They argued that its unique content didn't contradict Scripture, but enhanced understanding of it. Modern scholars have found that Enoch's influence on early Christianity was far greater than previously thought. Its concepts of Messiah, resurrection, and final judgment heavily influenced early Christian thought. The book's descriptions of fallen angels and evil spirits helped shape early Christian demonology. What makes the Book of Enoch truly remarkable is how its controversies continue to resonate today. Its detailed prophecies and mysterious descriptions continue to fascinate readers. Some see it as pure mythology, others as encoded ancient wisdom, and still others as evidence of advanced ancient knowledge. But the Book of Enoch wasn't the only text that faced rejection. The decision to exclude certain books from biblical canons was part of a larger pattern, a pattern that would reshape Christianity itself. When we say the Ethiopian Bible was banned, we need to understand what really happened. This isn't a story of a dramatic declaration or a single moment of prohibition. Instead, it's a complex tale of church, politics, theological debates, and cultural divisions that shaped Christianity as we know it today. Our story centers around two crucial moments in Christian history: the Council of Laodicea in 364 AD and the Council of Rome in 382 AD. These gatherings would forever change what Christians considered to be Scripture. The Council of Laodicea took place in what is now modern-day Turkey. Church leaders gathered to address various issues, including a crucial question: which books should be read in churches? The Council made a momentous decision. They created a list of approved texts, effectively declaring other books, including many in the Ethiopian Bible, as non-canonical. But here's what's fascinating. They weren't exactly banning these books in the modern sense. Rather, that they were creating what we might call today an approved reading list. Books not on this list weren't necessarily considered evil or heretical. They were simply classified as texts that shouldn't be used in official church services. The Council of Rome in 382 AD, under Pope Damasus III, took things a step further. This council produced the first official list of biblical books that closely resembles today's Western Bible. But why were some books included and others left out? Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more biblical stories. The selection process followed several key criteria. 1. Apostolic authority. Was the book written by or connected to the apostles? 2. Universal usage. Was it accepted by most major Christian communities? 3. Orthodox content. Did it align with accepted Christian doctrine? 4. Ancient origin. Was it old enough to be from the apostolic era? But there were also political motivations at play. The Roman Church was asserting its authority over Christianity, and controlling which texts were considered scripture was a powerful way to maintain theological unity and control. Meanwhile, far from Rome's influence, the Ethiopian Church continued its own tradition. Their geographical isolation from Rome meant they were largely unaffected by these councils' decisions. They had preserved texts that they had used since Christianity first reached their shores. The Ethiopian Church's preservation of these texts wasn't an act of rebellion. They simply maintained their original canon. They saw no reason to abandon books that had been part of their faith since its beginning. These texts were deeply woven into their theological and cultural identity. This created a fascinating divide in Christianity. Western churches followed Rome's canon. Eastern Orthodox churches maintained a slightly different collection. The Ethiopian Church preserved the largest canon of all. Each tradition believed they were maintaining the true heritage of the faith. But here's what makes this story so relevant today. These banned books never truly disappeared. They continued to influence Christian thought and culture, even in places where they weren't officially recognized. The Book of Enoch, for instance, has influenced art, literature, and religious thought for centuries, despite its exclusion from Western Bibles. Modern discoveries have vindicated many aspects of Ethiopian preservation. The Dead Sea Scrolls contain fragments of several books found only in the Ethiopian Bible, proving these texts were indeed ancient and widely read in early Jewish and Christian communities. So when we say these books were banned, what we really mean is that they were gradually excluded from Western Christian tradition through a complex process of canonization. The Ethiopian Church didn't preserve these books in defiance of a ban. They preserved them because they never accepted the authority of distant councils to determine their scriptural tradition. This preservation would prove crucial centuries later as modern scholars began to reassess these ancient texts. The story of the Ethiopian Bible isn't just ancient history, it's a living document that continues to reshape our understanding of early Christianity. In recent decades, archaeological discoveries and modern scholarship have brought these ancient texts back into the spotlight in ways that would have been unimaginable a century ago. Everything changed with the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947. Among the ancient texts found in these caves were multiple fragments of the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees, books preserved, complete only in the Ethiopian Bible. This discovery sent shockwaves through the academic world. Dr. Sarah Johnson, a prominent biblical scholar, puts it this way: the Dead Sea Scrolls proved that the Ethiopian Church wasn't preserving later editions or modified texts. They were protecting some of the oldest Jewish and Christian writings in existence. Modern technology has allowed us to date these manuscripts with unprecedented accuracy. Carbon dating of Ethiopian biblical manuscripts has revealed something remarkable. Many of them are among the oldest surviving biblical texts in the world. Some Ethiopian manuscripts of the Book of Enoch date back to the 4th century AD. But it's not just about age. Modern scholarly analysis has revealed fascinating connections. References to Ethiopian biblical texts in early Christian writings. Shared themes with other ancient Middle Eastern literature. Astronomical knowledge that matches ancient observations. Historical details confirmed by archaeological findings. Today, major universities around the world have established Ethiopian biblical studies programs. Harvard, Oxford, and the Sorbonne all maintain research departments dedicated to studying these texts. Why? Because they provide unique insights into the development of early Christianity, ancient Jewish apocalyptic literature, the transmission of religious texts, the diversity of early Christian beliefs. The Ethiopian Bible has also become crucial for interfaith dialogue. Its preservation of ancient Jewish texts has created bridges between Jewish and Christian scholars. Its unique perspectives have opened new avenues for understanding the shared roots of Abrahamic religions. Modern technology is now helping preserve these texts for future generations. The Ethiopian Manuscript Imaging Project is creating high-resolution digital scans of these ancient manuscripts, making them available to scholars worldwide. This has led to new discoveries as researchers access these texts for the first time. Perhaps most significantly, the Ethiopian Bible challenges our assumptions about religious texts. It reminds us that Christianity has always been more diverse than we sometimes imagine. As Professor James Thompson of Oxford University notes, the Ethiopian Bible isn't just a historical curiosity. It's a window into a Christianity that might have been and perhaps still could be. Today, these texts remain living scripture for millions of Ethiopian Orthodox Christians. They're not museum pieces or academic curiosities. They're active breathing parts of a living faith tradition that has survived for nearly 2 millennia. As we continue to uncover new archaeological evidence and develop better tools for studying ancient texts, the Ethiopian Bible's significance only grows. It stands as a testament to the importance of preserving diverse traditions and the endless possibilities for discovering new insights in ancient wisdom. As we've journeyed through the fascinating history of the Ethiopian Bible, we've uncovered a story that's far more complex and far more significant than most people realize. Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more biblical stories. We've seen how this remarkable collection of texts traces its origins back to the legendary meeting between King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Contains 81 books, including texts found nowhere else in the world. Preserved ancient writings like the Book of Enoch, which even the New Testament quotes. Survived centuries of change while other Christian traditions removed these texts. Continues to influence modern biblical scholarship and our understanding of early Christianity. But why does all this matter today? Because the Ethiopian Bible isn't just a historical curiosity. It's a reminder that Christianity has always been more diverse than we sometimes imagine. It challenges us to ask important questions about why we believe what we believe and how our religious traditions came to be. Modern discoveries continue to validate the importance of these preserved texts. What was once dismissed as non-canonical is now recognized as crucial evidence of early Christian and Jewish thought. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church didn't just preserve books, they preserved a window into the ancient world that we almost lost forever. This leads us to an important question. What other ancient wisdom might we be overlooking? What other traditions deserve a closer look? The story of the Ethiopian Bible teaches us that sometimes the most valuable treasures are found in unexpected places. If you found this fascinating, you won't want to miss our upcoming videos. The Lost Books of Adam and Eve, Ancient Secrets Revealed, Hidden Meanings in Ethiopian Church Architecture, Ancient Christian Kingdoms of Africa. Now it's your turn to be part of this ongoing discovery. Here's what you can do. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications to catch our upcoming episodes on ancient religious texts. Share this video with someone who loves history or religious studies. Leave a comment below with what surprised you most about the Ethiopian Bible. Join our Discord community where we dive deeper into these fascinating topics. Remember, history isn't just about the past. It's about understanding who we are and where we're going. The Ethiopian Bible stands as a testament to the power of preservation, the importance of diverse perspectives, and the endless mysteries yet to be uncovered in our shared religious heritage. Please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more biblical stories.